Out in the world today, this is pretty much what I'm seeing. People fighting over the sun versus the moon. You either follow the solar calendar or you follow the lunar calendar. So which is it? Perhaps we should just stop fighting. Let me show you something. Genesis 1, verse 14. And God said, "Let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs, and for seasons, and for days, and for years. Them, both the sun and the moon, for these things." So what happens if we just do a search for the word moon? Pretty common theme here. Genesis 37:9, sun and the moon. Deuteronomy, sun and the moon. Deuteronomy 17, sun, moon. And for the precious fruits brought forth by the sun, and for the precious things put forth by the moon. Then spake Joshua to the Lord in the day when the Lord delivered up the Amorites before the children of Israel. And he said in the sight of Israel, "Sun, stand thou still upon Gibeon." But what also? Moon, in the valley of Ahalon. And the sun stood still, and the moon stayed. Both very required for this clock. Then just multiple mentions of Hodesh. But then look at this as well. 2 Kings 23:5. And he put down the idolatrous priests whom the kings of Judah had ordained to burn incense in the high places in the cities of Judah and in the places round about Jerusalem. Them also that burned incense unto Baal, to the sun, and to the moon, and to the planets, and to all the host of heaven. So in 2 Kings we find it's possible to worship any of the luminaries, right? They worship the sun, they worship the moon, the planets, everything else, right? So worship is not just someone looking at the moon and looking at the clock. But moving forward, Job, "If I beheld the sun when it shined, or the moon walking in brightness." Then look at Psalms. Moon is put with stars, moon is put with sun. "In his days shall the righteous flourish, and abundance of peace so long as the moon endureth. Blow the trumpet in the Hodesh in the time appointed of our solemn feast day." Okay, Psalm 104:19. "He appointed the moon Yahreah for Moed, for the feasts. The sun know it going down. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon." Then you have moon and stars, sun and moon. "Sun, light, or the moon, or the stars, be not darkened, nor the clouds return after rain." Random side note, Ecclesiastes 12:2. Sun, light, or the moon. Those are three different things. Random side note. Look at how Song of Songs puts this. "Who is she that looketh forth as the morning, fair as the moon, clear as the sun, and terrible as an army with banners?" Then the prophecies of the sun and the moon. You see stars, sun, and moon in Isaiah 13, as well as next one, moon shall be confounded, and the sun ashamed, when the Lord of hosts shall reign in Mount Zion. More in Isaiah, sun and moon, putting these verses together. These verses, not all of them, but more often than not, the sun and the moon are together. Then in Jeremiah, you actually see more worship of the creation. "And they shall spread them before the sun and the moon and all the host of heaven, whom they have loved and whom they have served, and after whom they have walked, and whom they have sought, and whom they have worshipped. They shall not be gathered nor buried, they shall be for dung upon the face of the earth." They can worship luminaries, either sun, moon, or all of them, really. Moving forward, sun turned into darkness and moon into blood. Sun and moon shall be darkened. Sun and moon stood still in their habitation, and the light of thine arrows they went, and at the shining of thy glittering spear. And the trend continues. In the New Testament, sun, moon. Sun became sackcloth, moon became his blood. Third of the sun smitten, third of the moon. Woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet. The city had no need of the sun, neither of the moon. So I really think it's fair to say that if Scripture refuses to separate the sun and the moon, maybe we should not be fighting on whether or not we should be following the sun or the moon, and stop worshiping luminaries and just very simply look up at the sky and thank Him for the clock He gave us. Be careful not to prefer any luminary over another, any creation over any other. Do not prefer the rich over the poor. Love your enemy. Understand, we don't prefer anything. What do we worship? We worship Yahweh. So don't end up like those who ended up being put down for burning incense to any of the creation. We burn incense the way we were told to Yahweh and Yahweh alone.